A very good afternoon to each and every one of you. Thank you for making time to join us today in our last panel session. So the topic of today is discover your feminine identity. So for a lot of moms or even women out there, we do have this thought, right? I wish I was slimmer, smarter, richer. Which of these resonate for you? Because all of us know in our heads that we are uniquely made, right? But the question is how many of us actually live and experience that we are enough? Just as I am, with all my flaws and all my strengths, I am enough. So in today's society, we constantly judge and compare ourselves with others, and it's so easy to fall into the trap of following the herd. What my mother wants, what society says, what my family, extended family says, that we do not actually fulfill our unique identities. So today we end day 2 with a very fun panel as we peel off the layers in an in-depth discovery of your unique identity. So I want to introduce each of my 3 lovely panelists. We start with Tsing Tsing. Tsing Tsing founded Zaza Zoo, which is about helping women become comfortable with their sexuality. Because I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, my mom never told me about sex, I had to figure out myself. And then Renee is the founder of Groove Dance School, where it's amazing, and I'll let her share her story later. But she talks about things like how you do exotic dance, pole dance, and in that, right, discover your femininity. And then Pamela is the founder of VT Results, where she does essential oils, where she embraces healing herself. So each of them have very unique stories to share. And as we start this fun panel, I wanted to throw this open to you ladies, okay? We all grow up, right, from girls to adults, with an image of how a woman is. So what's your image of a woman? Tsing Tsing?
So I grew up in China, in Beijing, in a very communist and conservative world. And I grew up in the field of military. So at that time, communists in rule China at that time, everybody need to be equal. So you should not stand out. Stand out is a bad thing. So as girls at that time, we all had really short hair, and please do not be pretty, because then you stand out, you would potentially seduce, gain attention, and this is bad. So we actually grew up very skewed in a way that women should not be, even our teacher at that time, one of our teacher was a very attractive, very pretty lady, and she wore actually earrings when she was, she entered our school. And the headmaster immediately called her, so you have to take it out, because you should not draw any attention to you as a woman. So the image of how a woman should be is very skewed at that time. However, if everything is forbidden, you always try to find way to get it elsewhere. With all these kind of Hong Kong movies, in Singapore, and everything is outside of China, we get, this is how women should look like. We always aspire, but actually we do not have a proper role model as such.
Very interesting. And I get what you say is so true, right? Like we have this fixed image and then genderless and then don't stand out. Just be a mole like everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Renee?
For me I feel that a woman should be, it's just like something that when I was young, the ideal is to be sexy, pretty, confident. It's not about their size. It's not about their big or small, skinny or whatever. It's just being confident of themselves. Like they carry themselves very well. So that is my ideal of like what the image of women should be when I was growing up.
Was your mom like that?
No. Yeah, but my mom do, like when we were growing up, she do show me her pictures when she was young. She's like so pretty, long hair, pretty, very nice looking. Yeah,
very slim, hourglass.
That's right. Yeah, she did show me her pictures. Her pictures before we came out.
The pre-baby time.
Yeah, the pre-baby pictures.
And Pam, what's your image of like how should a woman be?
I think for me, as growing up, my mom, the figure that my mom showed me was like a very family, very motherly, stay at home, look after children, take care of family, take care of children, take care of kids. Yeah, so it's like that was the perception that I had of a woman. Like you have your responsibility is to take care of your family, take care of your children, and look after them.
I think it's so apt, right? What each of these ladies are sharing. So because I remember when I was growing up, there's this period we were talking behind the scenes where, as a kid, right? No gender one, don't know the difference between man and a boy or girl. We all play together, run, catching, touch everywhere, right? And then we reach puberty, and I think that's a very significant stage where I begin to realize, hey, cannot anyhow touch, anywhere, like the breasts are developing. And then guys got Adam's apple, their voice changes. And so now, right, like moving forward, I want to open up the second question, right? Are there any social myths or identities that you would love to debunk, right? Yeah. Jing Jing, maybe we can start with you.
That social, in a way that I think there is always a social perception how women should be like, in a way. So when actually, we can all go into a little bit in the women empowerment space, no? I mean that today we are saying, okay, women, you're supposed to be, we always say, we expect women to raise kids like they have no job and expect women to work like they have no kids. So this is I think in a way, women themselves, but also the society, the expectation. So, but actually if you go back ages ago, like Stone Age, men are very focused because the only job at that time men has is to hunt the mammoth, to feed the family, right? So they will run, they see the mammoth, very focused, the hunter, hunt it, and then bring back home. Whereas women is taking care of the tribe. So the kids are running around, okay, make sure they do not drop in the river, and then you have make the fire, cook the food, and then, you take a village to raise a kid in that way. But however, this image carry over now in our society today. We expect women somehow to do both. You need to be the hunter, and you need still to take care of the kids. Of course, it's always social and ourselves as well. Now, so then, how can you not lose your feminine identity then? Because you're supposed to be fight. I used to work in the German big German automotive company with many men. Of course, you have to raise up my boy. If I go there and then say, "Hi guys, this is me," this will simply not work. So there was a time in my period I was very masculine because I acted masculine, and then one day I go back home, my parents said, "Oh, you look very 很凶啊, you look very
fierce.
You're fierce. Exactly, your facial expression is totally. Which man is ever gonna marry you? You're so fierce." And this is actually something that I would like to empower our society to, women, there are so many roles maybe women are carrying now today, and be true to yourself, and then how to guide women to center yourself, to find your true femininity.
I think what you say is so true. In the past, it was so easy to distinct, right? The woman's place is in the domestic, the hunter goes out there.
Right.
But in today's day, where we are talking about dual income, like what you brought up, if I'm not assertive at my workplace, I tend to lose out.
Yeah.
And then switch mask, and then come home, hi darling, to the husband. Then, is there the identity crisis? So let's listen more as we begin to just break down all these social identities and debunk them, yeah? Renee, what was it for you?
Okay, so this is something that really made me feel bad. Like, my ex used to tell me, when I wear too little, when I wear too low, too short, he would tell me, "Can you dress like a mother?" So I went like, what do you mean? Is there a fixed image of a mother? A mother can be tall, can be slim, can be fat, can be pretty, can be sexy, can look like powerful, can look like a little girl. It's just mothers, right? Why are you telling me what I am supposed to look like? Is there a fixed image that a mother should be? I like to wear little, I like to wear sexy, I like to be attractive, I like to wear makeup. So that just makes me feel good. I just want to be myself. Just like a lot of mothers out there, I feel personally that whenever we get married, we have kids, they just get so bogged down with kids, with family, with the household, and just totally lose yourself. You forget about yourself. And after months and years, and one day look at yourself in the mirror, you just realize, oh my God, this is not me. Where did that me before baby disappeared to? This is not me. Where am I? I want my pre-baby body back, my pre-baby look back, and my confidence back. and how I feel about myself. So I think that is something that a lot of mothers forget. They get so busy and they just forget about themselves. And we all have to remember we are the most important person. We have to take care of ourselves first before anyone else. Because if you don't take care of yourself, your kids can feel it, your husband can feel it. Everyone knows that you are not happy, you're not putting in effort, you're just not yourself anymore. So I think this is something that there's no definition of how a mother should look like. And you have to be yourself and don't lose yourself.
I think there's so much wisdom in what you share, because my thought, right, immediately is, before you got married, he knew who you were, right? It's like you look exactly like that. And then after the kids come out, hey, you should change your look. I mean, that's effectively what I hear. So isn't it real, right? That I think sometimes voices like that, I think in your case, it was your husband. In someone else's case, it may be their mother-in-law telling them how you should behave. In someone else's case, probably a colleague who judges. So I think the heart of this entire panel session is in exactly what Renee said. You know, at the end of it, right, there is it's not a cookie cutter where it's not just one size fits all, but be who you are. And here's where I want to bring in body shapes, right? We know there are 4 main body shapes. Some eat a lot, still very skinny, you know, and they don't even have to effectively do anything, the athletic type, right? And then there's those who starve themselves, eat air, also become fat. It's not like, you know, and then it doesn't help. And I think as we aspire towards that vision, as if there is only the Barbie doll that we all are supposed to look like from pre-child and even after, I think that's a very big myth that we can debunk, because really, confidence is loving yourself from who you are within. Yeah, Pam, is there anything you want to add to that?
I think that's very, very important, like what you said, loving yourself. A lot of mothers, at the end of the day, because of the family, because of the children, because of so many other commitments that they have, they just tend to lose themselves, lose sight of who they really are and what they really love to do and what they really want to embrace for themselves. So if in order to, to be able to care better for their family, their children, they need to actually love themselves better. And when they are able to love themselves from within, then they are able to love and embrace the family and the children even better.
Yeah, very well said. I think at the end of it, instead of, I believe that each and every one of us are unique. Like who you are, like in your German company, and who you are in what you created in your dance school, and who you are in your business is completely different from the destiny that I am to fulfill. And each of us all have different giftings. So if I try to be a Renee, or Renee tries to be like Pam, and Pam tries, we will all not make it in that race, because that race is marked out for you uniquely. So I think it's about an inward journey that really we hardly take time to do, right? Because with the kids, with work, with the husband, and so many demands, I think that space that we can carve for ourselves in knowing who we are and going deep instead of listening to what the world tells us to be and to do and to act and to think even, really will set us apart, right? Because there's no, I think the heart of it is there's no one more, right? What works for your mom may not work for you. Your grandmother's time is outdated already. You know, the values that they hold is completely outdated. So I want to ask now, right, as we, cross so many things, what do you think? Because now I think increasingly the roles between men and women, it's blurring, right? The lines, because women begin to work and earn our own income. So Jing Jing, in your opinion, what makes a woman different from a man?
I think for coming back to what I said before, women generally were more nurturing. It's just, the baby pop out there. Like, come on, it used to be a piece of us. No? So just in a way, generally women are more caring, that's why we somehow have this role, have to take care of kids as well. Men are less, I would say, I'm not saying that men are not caring about their kids, but they are just, from genetic perspective, less nurturing. I share an example with one, my husband will hate me because he's watching. When we came back from zoo, and then we were late, and then he was actually already hungry, and we were all hungry, and then we go back home, and the first thing I was like, without doing anything, I would just start to cook something for him, warm up, and he was like, I'm hungry as well. In a way, just naturally, there was nothing, I would say nothing bad. He's a great father, but then there's nothing, no bad thought behind, but this is just genuinely how men would act, because this is natural reaction. He is hungry as a fact. But as a mother, you will just suppress whatever you feel right now and focus on your kids. And yeah, so in a way that men and women, but however today, going back to what I said before, the role women have so many roles you have to take care. And then you are the nurturer at home, you are the CEO, the CFO, so many roles in your professional life as well. And then how to balance that. You cannot be the perfect nurturer at home, but then still be the perfect CEO at home at work. So how to find your own identity inside, where else? And then also, for example, men and women. When we are all mothers here, and the fact that I think society very often ignore is that women go through their body a dramatic change. During puberty, okay, men get Adam's apple as well, but women, you get your period, your breast is growing, and then sometimes too small, too big, or whatever kind of issue you somehow have. But then once you get pregnant, your belly, before pregnant, you already feel the sickness, then the belly grow bigger, then the kids pop up, and then you have to shrink, and then your emotion, everything, it's such a journey, whereas the men, actually, okay, most of men get pregnant with the women as well.
And they never lose their weight. And they never lose their husband has been 6 months permanently pregnant, for the past 10 years.
My husband will say the same. He looks great, but he will say the same. But it's like when we met, I was so slim, and then now look at you and look at me. But then, however, after during this period, men does not change, so they do not experience actually the emotion, the body change, and everything else. So I think especially for parents, this is a part that women really need to take care of yourself, because this dramatic change, society ignore it in a way. Social media barely share, postnatal depression, or some depression actually come afterwards because you are carrying. Some women lose their job, and then you have to be strong, in every part of your life, and you simply cannot be.
I so totally love what you brought up, because I think in exactly that our whole body physically undergoes boom, boom, and then the whole life comes out, and then the breast suddenly got milk one, like whenever, for 20 over years never had. And I can so totally identify with what you say, because my husband, same lah. One of the things that we will talk about over dinner, he will take for himself. For me, right, I'm like dishing out onto the kids. Right? He will take for himself. I'm like, seriously, can't you just give the kids first? Then he's like, they can help themselves. What? I'm like, wow, enraged, potential conflict moment, right? I'm like, hey, where's your father's heart? But actually what I mean is, the mom.
Yeah.
And what's ironic is I never used to be like that. So one incident I want to share is, if you all know me, I drive cars very, very fast. Right? I think you can, very fast. Like they tell me, I love it. Okay, I love speed, I love thrill. But when I was pregnant, nobody taught me. Suddenly my husband one day sitting next to me, wow, you're very much safer. I was like, is it? It's like suddenly the sense of responsibility when I realized that my life is no more unto my own, but I want to look after this baby, even though can hardly see the stomach. But everything within us shifts in that 9 months. And then the husband just see the outside, right? I think we go toilet also cannot control because the weight of the baby is pressing on the bladder. Sleep also, this way, towards the end of the pregnancy. And then the guy is still the same, And it's not just that, but I think the hormonal changes as well. Like our hormones, in exactly what you bring up, like depression. And nobody tells us, not just that physically we're changing, but the hormones are changing. And then suddenly, no sleep. Correct? For any mom who knows, right, the lack of sleep, cannot even think properly. I remember in the beginning days, I'm like, day and night also don't know. You just get up and then not even very hungry, right? And then I just want to sleep, but then the poor baby, and then not enough milk, and and then the husband, what's with you? It's like, so many things are going through for me. And then for you, you just regularly go to your job, nothing much has shifted, right? And then you come and ask me what's wrong. I'm like,
But the thing is, going back to what you're saying, you can't blame them because they can't feel it, right?
Yes.
Before I was a mother, I was like, what's the deal? You're pregnant, you're not sick, right? Oh my God, today I was like, how can I even say that? Because you don't understand the journey. And as a husband, as understandable they are. I think we all have great husbands. However, it's just if the society does not bring this topic actually forward, saying what does it mean for women going through pregnancy? Yes, men cannot understand that. So it's our task actually to teach them what does it mean to go through the whole pregnancy.
I totally identify, and the word is identify. So prior to that, on MRT, pregnant woman, I give my seat because it's the right thing to do, right? But when I was pregnant, when somebody offered me the seat, I really felt like, wow, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got 5 kids, right? So my first kid, I'm still acting strong, right? Because there's a lot of that strength. By the time the third, fourth kid come already, I'm like, oh, thank you. It's like graciously, I learned how to accept help.
Yes,
And I learned, instead of just putting out my strength, I think being a mom taught me, and in part of my personal development, that it's fine to show my vulnerable side.
Yeah.
It's fine to accept graciously the seat, even if it's for one stop, you know what, thank you, my legs can rest. And yeah. And for you, Renee, like, what's
The difference between
Yeah,
men and women.
for you.
Yeah. But the difference between men and women, okay, the way I see it is the difference in like how we embrace ourselves. Like as a woman and as a man. Okay, I run an all ladies dance school. So what I do, I empower women. I focus on women, on like empower them, make them feel good about themselves, make them feel confident of themselves, of what I do in the school. So we teach pole dance, we teach exotic dance, we do all the sexy dance. Okay.
you want to show us a few moves, is it?
Okay, so yeah, that's what I do. Because the main difference is how we embrace ourselves, how we embrace our own bodies, how we want to feel good about ourselves, how we want to look attractive, how we just want to be a better person than who I am right now. Every single day, I want to be a better person every single day. So like what I teach, we get girls. So like example, say exotic dance, pole dancing. It's more like on a sexy manner. If we're looking at the sexy manner, right? So we teach them like body movement, how you move your body, how you touch yourself. Yeah. so in just a 1 hour session, you can actually really see a lot of difference in these girls. Like in the very first lesson, second lesson, everybody's like so shy. Wear long sleeve, short, like long t-shirt, long pants. So especially for pole dance, we already told them, please be in shorts. And they come in like long shorts. Just
Bermudas.
So we just have to get them to. So first lesson to second lesson, so I'll be like, wear lesser next time. Then eventually, so they actually along the way during the classes, cause like when you dance, you totally forget about anything.
Right.
You just focus on what you want to do, what the teacher is teaching you, or just follow. And that 1 hour, you're totally just focusing on yourself, and that's it. You're not thinking about, have my kids slept already? Is my kids ate already? so like I can like totally see, like in every student that we ever had, like a very big change. First lesson, second lesson, eventually they just automatically wear lesser and lesser for class. And like the way they smile, the way they laugh in class, it's just priceless. It's something that you have changed someone's life. You feel that the very first time I see this person is so shy, so like self-conscious. Ask your chest out. Out. Just out. You are so shy. So eventually, like as the classes go on, as we teach, as they learn more and more, they feel more and more confident of their body. And it makes me feel so happy that, see, you're a different person right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. I just think it's so amazing what you're sharing. So can I share, right?
Yeah.
I used to be a tomboy growing up. So tomboy means exactly, I can understand what you're trying to say. So I don't think, okay, so this is how I used to be. I used at university, I wear baggy shirt and baggy jeans. And I think that outward dressing is a reflection of my lack of inner confidence or my lack of being comfortable in my skin, right? Like, the breast coming up, okay, wear baggy shirt, and don't know how to. But then I think for me, the transition came when I started work, right? And then I see, then people are like, hey, actually your figure why don't you wear more skirts? I'm like, So, but I began to open myself to learn and discover who I am. And like what I'm hearing is to be comfortable in my own skin. So it doesn't mean, I think, what Renee means is, it's not like, it doesn't mean that someone who is scantily dressed is necessarily comfortable in their own skin, right? Because I could look sexy because I need their attention, and deep inside is insecurity. But I think one of the benefits of being comfortable with who I am and touching myself instead of always hiding that breast, chest out, and to be proud about the fact that we are made completely different from men. Our physical body, our spirit, our mind, in what we've covered, right? Our emotions is completely different from a man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you don't need to be like skinny, you don't need to be like hourglass. But once you feel confident of yourself, you are so comfortable in your own skin, you just automatically feel great. Every day is like, yay, I'm awesome, I'm amazing. You just feel so good about yourself.
I love what you share. So I want to ask, are some of your students like overweight, obese, and it doesn't matter, right?
Doesn't matter. You just look at the way they move, the way they go with the class, they just enjoy themselves in the lesson. It's just amazing.
I mean, just hearing you share, right? I also feel like going for her lesson and to get, I think it's a whole continuum where it's not like uncomfortable, but I think we can always grow to love ourselves more, however that looks and feels. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So sounds very interesting, and stay tuned because at the end, Renee will be giving complimentary private lesson 1 hour, to
Yes.
to either exotic, pole, or lap dance. So very interesting. Yeah. As you help us discover our feminine side, right?
Yep.
And Pam, like for you, what makes a woman different from men?
I think for me, it's about the masculine versus the feminine side. For me, as I grew up being a very tall girl, so I'm always the tallest in the class, and I always get the attention. And a lot of times when I'm out there, I have males who will actually turn around and look twice again at me to make sure that I'm actually a female rather than a male because of my height. So I'm actually like very outstanding. So a lot of times the feminine versus the masculine side, because a lot of times the males are always the masculine. They always have to be the tough guys, that portray that. And for us females, we tend to be that feminine person. We have to be that, maybe that little girl, that more passive the woman out there. But as in this current society, we all know that women actually hold both the roles of a male as well as a female. And the women nowadays, they have the capability to work. They are also taking care of children. They have shared responsibilities equally together with the males. So the difference is actually the women actually tend to be more heart-centered and more heartfelt rather than the males. The males, I think like your husband, right? Like, bo chap lah, the kids will take care of themselves. Right? But the women, on the other hand, they tend to be the ones, have you eaten? What do you want to eat? They will take care of all the children, everyone, make sure that they're comfortable, they are, well taken care of before even they take care of themselves. So that's that's the main difference between the masculine and the feminine side of all of us, Yeah.
I think you touch on very important topics. I think one is like, being the tall one, I can imagine how, that tall poppy syndrome where we are like, we should feel like everyone else and I'm different. I went through that, because it's always easier to fit in. I think we all were wired up to fit in with this social need. And when we feel we're a bit different, and I'm sure Ting Ting, you were sharing like how dark skinned you were and you're like, oh my God.
It's just different. Right? And I think going back what Pam says, you know what, I'm average, I'm rather small than tall. So when I was a kid, I was like, oh my God, I so admire girls that are tall and skinny and like all the, wow, if I would just, and then I would stuff actually some of them, like paper just in my shoes to make me look taller. So everyone's journey is just so different. Oh.
Yeah.
And how is it for you? Did you want to be taller, shorter?
Of course I want to be taller. So I'll be always in heels whenever I go out to just make myself taller. So just now I was walking next to her. She said, oh, you're also quite tall. I said, no, mine's fake. I'm wearing super high heels now. I wish I have I'm like naturally tall.
And isn't that like the reality of life, right? Like we look at someone, I wish I had your fancy car, I wish I had your loving husband, I wish I had kids even. And then we don't appreciate what we really